So what if I told you James Comey may have just incriminated himself in a book he wrote with his own two hands? What if the man who weaponized the FBI against the sitting president just slipped, and that's an understatement, big time, and left behind a written confession? And what if Trump just confirmed that something way bigger is brewing behind the scenes when he himself links Comey, Biden's latest pen scandal, and a potential takedown of the dirtiest players in this entire scheme? Buckle up. This one is explosive. Don't worry, Trump, I got your back. Because James Comey, former FBI director and the man Trump once called a dirty cop, has released a book called FDR Drive. It's supposed to be fiction. He released this book. But buried in its pages is a chilling line that might be far too close to the truth. I'm going to read the passage in the book, and I'm going to let it sink in. Because Comey, through his thinly veiled fictional alter ego, just described a scenario where a political figure's words allegedly led to real-world violence, and he's framing it as a warning, or is it now a reflection, a conviction? But that's just where things start to get wild, because Donald Trump posted something on Truth Social about a scandal growing bigger and bigger, and he just so happens to put Biden's auto pen and Comey in the same Truth Social mega bomb. What's going on? Is this a setup for a whole new wave of revelations? A slow drip takedown of the Washington establishment who's operated with impunity for far too long? And a book that may be fiction, but now the implications are very real. And this was meant as a cover. It might just backfire. And that's one of many stories I'm going to bring you here. Before I do, I want to thank each and every one of you. Those, do me a favor, because as you know, I'll cover for Lisa. Normally when she wants to sleep in or actually enjoy her weekend, and I never stop working. It's probably one of my personality flaws in some way, but yesterday we did a video on her channel. I'm going to put a link to her channel above. I want you to subscribe there. She is under an immense amount of suppression right now, unlike anything we've experienced since the day we first met. It is unfortunate because she is literally one of the best in the business. Occasionally, the algorithm allows something to slip through. It was this video here, and it exploded. So if you didn't have a chance to watch it, I'm going to put a link above to that video. Also, I want you to go there. I want you to make sure, again, you subscribe to Lisa's channel. And if you're new here, I want you to subscribe to this channel. It's your place for black and white news, research, reference. I put my references on justusaknight.com. If you don't want to rely on YouTube to notify you, which you do by making sure your bell is checked, you can go justusaknight.com, subscribe there, and no matter what video I put up, you'll get notified. Also, our family is growing here. Our membership is growing. Thank you for all that have joined. Those of you who provided super thanks, thank you so very much. I put it right back into the broadcast, and I put it right back into restrictedrepublic.com, the platform Lisa Haven and I created for you. News, reference, research, no commercials, no interruptions, no sponsors, beholden to no one but you, our audience. It's why we created it, because there we are unfiltered, uncensored, and we can report on anything we so damn well choose. It's why the platform is growing day after day, and we want you to be a member of that family. Monthly and annual subscriptions provided is an option to you, and you can cancel anytime. Please today get to restrictedrepublic.com. You will not regret that decision. The catalog will take you months on top of months to get through, because the news we put there and the featured exclusive content grows every single day. restrictedrepublic.com. And now let's get back to this broadcast. First, a heartwarming film here. You're sitting in the middle of California. A helicopter closes down your intersection. And why? I'm going to lower the volume. I'm actually going to silence it here, because this is the border security closing down an entire intersection. And why? Man, okay, I'm a dog lover. And this one almost brought me to tears because watch what comes out of that helicopter. One of the border agents carrying one of the border dogs who just got bit by a rattlesnake, and reports are that he is okay. Time was crucial. Intersection shut down, brought into the emergency room, anti-venom's working, but this is what we should be seeing. Not always this dissension and divide in this country. No, there's heartwarming moments like this. This is how important each and every member of our border security is, and that dog is a member of the border security doing his job to keep us safe. But that seems not to be accepted anymore, huh? Now, we got to listen to these actors out there. Listen in here for a moment, then I'm going to give you my entire analysis of this.
And I want very much to live on the right side of history. And I'm an immigrant. My parents are refugees from Chile. I myself was a refugee. We fled a dictatorship, and I was privileged enough to grow up in the U.S. And after asylum in Denmark, and if it weren't for that, I don't know what would have happened to us. And so I stand by those protections.
Pedro Pascal. You may have seen him in, I think it was Game of Thrones, if I remember correctly. A few other, I'm not really good with actors because I do the news, but I do cover them occasionally when what they're stating isn't in alignment with what they're stating. He goes on a little further.
I think fear is the way that they win, for one. And so keep telling the stories and keep expressing yourself and keep fighting to be who you are. And I don't know, fuck the people that try to make you scared, you know,
Okay, so what you're claiming there is most would perceive it, is that what Trump and the administration is doing against, let me use the key word here, illegal immigration is bothering you, and F the people to try to make you scared as an illegal immigrant. However, Pedro, if you're going to talk about this, you should probably talk about your own story. Because none of us, not me, I don't believe my audience, oppose legal immigration. We're fighting against illegal immigration. I know it's tough. You're an actor. I don't expect much out of you. But nonetheless, I do like some little shred of accuracy before you try to fire up half the world again, like you guys all do so well on your side of the aisle. Pedro Pascal relives family's harrowing immigration to America. The family managed to find asylum in Denmark when Pascal was 9 months old, before they immigrated to the United States. Doesn't say illegally immigrated. Pascal and his siblings were raised in both Texas and Southern California. They offered us a political asylum in Denmark, and shortly after, they received a job offer in the U.S., which means I'm going to go with almost 99.9% certainty that you and your family came here legally. So please, before you get on your soapbox and incite something that you shouldn't be inciting, you should probably go with your story and support the way your family came here. Because the important part is none of us are against legal immigration. Please, I know it's a tough concept for so many, but just want to get it out there. FBI arrests Wisconsin Judge Hannah Dugan. You know this story. I've talked about it a million times over. And if you did something, again, that's against the law, well, I just want to make sure y'all know, in case I'm wrong and you agree with what Hannah Dugan did, she now has a GoFundMe. Because Judge Hannah Dugan deserves a full and aggressive defense. Your support will help ensure she receives it. What do you feel about that? Just curious. Go ahead, throw it in the comments below. But the legal system is completely warped and skewed right now, and the New York Times continues to propagate this skewed legal system. The recklessness itself sends a message. 35 legal experts, gotta love that word, assess Trump's return and why they are choosing these Yale professors who are studying fascism, well, to, I guess, self-deport to Canada. Bye. You guys are more than welcome to go. I'm not even going to bother playing your clips or what the New York Times published because it's ludicrous in itself. Because just a little history check here. We study fascism. We're leaving the U.S. New York Times runs video of Yale professors fleeing to Canada. Professor Snyder in the past had stated, if you think there is this thing out there called America and it's exceptional, that means you don't have to do anything, whatever is happening. It must be freedom. Student, you are using the word freedom when you are talking about authoritarianism. So anytime we try to go back to the Constitution in any way, shape, or form, you understand that they always call it authoritarianism or fascism. Does that mean our forefathers were fascists? I'm just curious, because seems to be something so incendiary to you about any time we've tried to pull back to the rule of law, the rule of the Constitution. And I could go further. Another one in those interviews, Professor Snyder, I don't even like using the word professor, we're shifting from a democracy, which had some pretty heavy oligarchical streaks running through it, towards something like an oligarchy, in which I think it's fair to say that it's not Trump who's the most important person, it's Musk. Trump has debts. Musk has money. That's why they have the partnership. Trump has debts specifically to Musk for getting him elected, and I think the burden of proof is actually on Trump to show that he has any room for maneuver in this system. So in other words, Elon Musk was running the republic, the great republic of the United States of America. And Trump is just a figurehead coming from the side that supported Biden and stating that he was running the country. But Trump has something to say about that in just a few minutes in the broadcast. This is the lunacy of their entire thought process, which it isn't a thought process. It's talking points and sound bites to divide a nation. That's all it ever has been and all it ever will be. Professor Stanley's past contributions to the political debate, including, I am really truly embarrassed by the fact that my mild comment, F those a-holes, is being spread. This wildly understates my actual sentiments towards homophobic religious proponents of evil, like Richard Swinburne, who used their status as professional philosophers to appear to oppress others with less power. I am so sorry for using such mild language. They're not partisans at all. Canada's not that far away. Are you already there? Because I certainly hope you are. Because your side has resulted in, well, pretty much everything you touch turning to crap. AOC's district, now 70% up in crime, but she's the shining golden child. Or, those cities run by the left like Chicago and New Orleans, for example, that are just doing so well, aren't they? Oh, that's right. We had a jailbreak out of New Orleans, didn't we? Where the inmates, 10 of them who escaped, mocked their own prison guards because they found if they removed a toilet, it led to, well, the outside. This is too easy, LOL. Oh, seriously. But don't worry. Have faith, because we've seen how much faith we should have in New Orleans law enforcement, right? As these prisoners escape, except one has a little problem jumping off the end. He should not join a basketball team. There he is, biffed it. But nonetheless, they removed a toilet and escaped. Mocked their guards, but here, you can't make this up. Every time Eclipse comes out of New Orleans, I scratch my head. I'm like, oh, you guys make this so much worse for yourself. And I love this city. I love New Orleans. I can't wait to go back there. Lisa and I both adore it. But a clown show? Well, kind of an understatement.
Good afternoon, all. I am Major Stephanie Minter Gibbs.
That's about all I need to play. Because at first, I thought I was watching a new Batman movie. For those of you who watch the Batman movies, you probably know what I'm referring to. But seriously, you have to have a position of authority. Do I disagree with her wardrobe selection? Because I see that in the comments below. No, I disagree with the presentation that is being given to when dangerous criminals are now out on the streets. Maybe your wardrobe choices should be slightly different to exude an air of confidence in the public that this will be handled quickly. Just my personal opinion. And guess what? No matter how many of you may complain and not my normal audience, I have that right and I exercise it daily. No, even though you would like me not to be able to. So I'll go back to your favorite portion of the story, those who may disagree with me. Because we have something to talk about here, don't we? We're going to dive into, before we dive into Trump's explosive Truth Social post, ask yourself this. Why would Comey write this first? Who is he trying to warn? Or worse, who is he trying to protect? Because he obviously now can't protect himself based on his own words. Because when fiction mirrors real-life operations, it's not just a story. Oh, no, it may become a strategy. And you may have self-incriminated yourself. So let me read it to you, shall I? We all know this famous post. Because Comey has now become the villain from his own book. Just read the description. Here's the book, FDR Drive. And this was on Publishers Weekly. And within it, their write-up states, former FBI Director Comey Westport reunites the protagonist of his first two legal thrillers for his strongest outing yet. U.S. Attorney Carmen Garcia is trying to take down Samuel Buchanan, a far-right media personality, with a popular podcast vilifying those he thinks are destroying America, intellectuals, immigrants, and people of color. Wow, the parallels abound. Garcia believes Buchanan went far beyond the protection of the First Amendment when he singled out his enemy by name and suggested something should be done. 86. Enemy. 47. Just tying it together here for you. His fans have obliged, killing or grievously injuring some of his foes. So that would mean that Comey understands the implications of an action that could, again, single out an enemy by name and suggest something should be done. Ouch. That most certainly didn't age well for you, did you? How are you going to argue now with the FBI and Secret Service that you had no idea of what the implications could have been about this? Oh, that you simply didn't understand what the numbers meant? That defense isn't going to hold, Comey. And now in your own book, oh, you self-incriminate yourself. You see how easy it is when you just know how to find the facts. Facts matter. And everybody's waking up to it. Even CNN coming out for the reality check that the tariffs and everything Trump is doing in the Middle East is bad, 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 except his approval rating is going up from -8 to -1. Aggregate has him higher than late April too, and much higher than this point in his first term. So no matter what you're trying, no matter what you're attempting to do, you're losing. And Trump is winning. He rewrote Middle East policy in the course of 3 days, demolishing everything that they wanted. But he's got one major hurdle, doesn't he? He still has Russia-Ukraine. And I don't know when the world will wake up to the fact that Russia and Trump, they're not taking Zelensky seriously at all. Not only did Putin pull out of the peace talks himself because he knew that the conditions he was going to set were never going to be adhered to. What are those conditions? Well, we know what they are now. Bloomberg published it, but Russia said it. Ukraine agreeing to a neutral status regarding NATO. Okay, 1. 2. No foreign troops in Ukraine. 3. No nuclear weapons in Ukraine. 4. De facto recognition of Crimea and lost eastern region as now Russia's. I told you that was going to happen. I drew you a map. This shouldn't be a shock to anyone. The mainstream media is about 6 weeks behind me. This isn't that freaking difficult, folks. But I guess that's why this channel is growing and their ratings are dying. And withdrawal of key forces from the territories before a ceasefire takes effect. This should be no shock. Why the mainstream media is publishing this as any shock that Putin's being unreasonable. Unreasonable or not, that's not the fact. The fact is the facts are the facts. If you think he was going to demand any less, you're insane. But this was the funny part of the story. Stories been making rounds that Ukrainians were outraged when Russian negotiators said the Ukrainian soldiers must leave the 4 new Russian regions as part of the ceasefire. To which Moscow delegation replied, next time it will be 5 if you don't come to an agreement. It's called negotiating. You got to have a hammer at all times. No, it's not 4, it's 5. But in actuality, it wasn't 5. We didn't say 5. We said 8. Ooh, they took a playbook right out of the Trump playbook on how to negotiate. But you have to expect this because they only wanted one man at the negotiating table. And that wasn't Zelensky. No, because they've stated, as I told you from the beginning, that Zelensky would never be able to bring this across the finish line, nor does it appear he has any desire to bring it across the finish line. Russian Lavrov holds phone call with Rubio, and what did they state? Noted the positive role of the United States in helping Kyiv eventually accept Russian President Vladimir Putin's proposal to resume the Istanbul talks. The foreign minister's statement said, adding that Russia was ready to continue working with the U.S. on this matter, not Ukraine. until Trump hits the negotiating table, this won't end. And I believe he will be able to get a concession out of Russia to somewhat meet in the middle, and then it will be decision time for Ukraine. Agree? Or Trump will walk away. And if Trump walks away, for the people of Ukraine, it will be devastation. I will be speaking, Trump responds, to keep the quarrel down. I will be speaking by telephone to President Vladimir Putin of Russia on Monday at 10 a.m. The subject? Stopping the bloodbath that is killing on average more than 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week, and trade. I will then be speaking to President Zelensky of Ukraine, and then with President Zelensky, various members of NATO. Hopefully, it will be a productive day. A ceasefire will take place, and this very violent war, a war that should never have happened, will end. God bless us all. Come Monday, we may find out what's going to happen. And Trump just threw his hat in a ring to say, okay, Putin, it's you and me. And then we'll talk to little Zelensky. And then it will be up to those forces that want Zelensky to never relent. And for what reason? Never-ending war. And who does it hurt? The people of Ukraine, the people of Russia. Not these governments. No, I care about the people. And at least there's one man who seems to care about them also now, doesn't he? But let's go to the final post. This little cryptic message here from President Trump himself on his Truth Social account. Whoever had control of the auto pen is looking to be a bigger and bigger scandal by the moment. Told you this would brew up. By the way, the J6 pipe bomber saga is also coming to the forefront as Trump has put his people in place, and they have to weed through, I wouldn't even call it red tape. I would call it padlocks of resistance. And it's taking a while. But they're digging and they're finding out, because if they find out that auto pen scandal is bigger and Biden didn't have knowledge of certain orders being signed, then those orders become defunct. And imagine how quickly that could unravel the rest of the Washington establishment agenda instantaneously. And I have a feeling, based on what Trump posted here, he's being given intelligence that they do have some information. And based on the interview that just came out from Robert Hur and Biden, I don't want to cover it because honestly, it's nothing we didn't know. All it is validating what we've already discussed, but Trump goes further. Remember, it all began with dirty cop James Comey. Obama, a hapless and cognitively impaired sleepy Joe Biden, and now a very famous accusation that they spied on my campaign. Whoever had control of the auto pen is just the beginning. Now, if you've followed President Trump for as long as we have, and I know you have, there's something coming, folks. And it's bigger than most realize. He posts with intent at all times. He posts this, I think this was on his Instagram account, his first presidency. He coins in Joe Biden's second presidency as being that of the presidency of an auto pen, not the man. And of course, Trump's second term. Oh, I can't wait to see what's coming next. So while James Comey may want you to believe that FDR was just a work of fiction, well, we now see it for what it really is, isn't it? Self-incrimination. A warning. Maybe even now this post a desperate last move because the walls are closing in on him. And they all know because there's still folks embedded within D.C. that are providing the other side intelligence saying, oh, they're getting really close to the truth now. And when that happens, they get more desperate and they make mistakes. And Comey made a big mistake. Trump's not throwing darts anymore. Not darts in the dark. No, he can see the target now because the intelligence provided him is making that focus more refined. And if what he's hinting at is true, this scandal isn't just bigger and bigger. It is the iceberg we've been waiting for. And I'm going to be bringing you every single development in it. I love you all. Please make sure your comments are plentiful. Help me share the videos. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.